In this week's episode, we talk about the new CW DCU series Stargirl, developing likable and relatable characters in a reasonable story arc and villains that make sense. Also, this episode contains mild spoilers, so you may want to see the show first. If you've seen the show, please leave your comments about it in the comment section below. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe as we try to release a show every week around the same time. Hello, story dwellers! I am Suzanna Reeves, and you're listening to the Rigoli Reeves Show. We talk about stories, plots, and arcs from fantasy, popular film and animation, books, and all kinds of creative works. We don't always agree with each other, but we do have an entertaining and often thoughtful take on stories. Maybe something we'll say will encourage you and help you with your stories or works. Hi, welcome to another episode of Rigoli Reeves Show. This time it's in the room.
Yeah, this is going to be take two. We did the actual show in the car, but we were actually driving somewhere, so there was so much background noise you could barely hear us.
So we're talking about Stargirl. It's a new CW series that's based on the comic Stargirl. Can you tell us a little bit about I guess we can't tell the history, can we?
Well, okay, just spoiler warning. If you haven't seen the show yet, you should go see it. And then, listen, this is a review. We're going to try and steer away from outright spoilers to discuss the character and some of the background. There may be some mild spoilers, so fair warning.
This is a DC comic, correct?
This is a DC comic. Stargirl is kind of a successor to the original Starman, who was a Golden Age hero, maybe even a Silver Age hero, part of the Justice Society of America. And the new show kind of takes it up from there with the end of the Justice Society of America and the beginning of a new group of superheroes, Stargirl being the center character in that.
So they've taken a comic book like we see with Marvel Universe and DCU, they're putting it into live action. Let's talk about it from story. In our car version of our show, we talked about how a show of her accomplishments. They showed it in a way of a collage of images from her successes that she's had, pictures of her with awards. So we got to see an overview of the character's life without having to tell us that she is talented. They showed us her talents. And then you talked about what she wanted.
Yeah,
that's one of the most important parts.
One of the motivations of the character that was established early on is the lack of a father, and she was waiting for her father, and he never showed up, and never showed up again.
And she held on to that gift.
She's still carrying around a Christmas gift because her father never showed up Christmas Eve to get her, and she never saw him again. So she's always kind of held out what the heck happened with that. She doesn't know why he went away, and her mom doesn't really have any answers for her either. Her motivation, it's clearly kind of laid out there that she's been trying to make herself this better, more worthy person because she's holding out hope that she just needs to make herself worthy of her dad.
Mm-hmm. She was raised well, and in fact her mom married a sidekick of the previous Starman. Therefore she had a different rearing than...
Yeah, but that sounds like your mom knew anything about that.
She didn't know anything about that, yeah.
The mom had no idea that this person was a sidekick to anybody.
Yeah, but he still had a moral code.
No, I'm just saying, it's like, that's not why she married him. She married him because he was just a good guy, and they fell in love, and, and it turns out that he was the sidekick to the Starman who died in the beginning of the series.
And he's carrying around the staff.
And he has all the gear and was trying...
spoiler warnings again.
He was carrying around all the old gear. Mm-hmm. What is it? The changeover, the call to action?
The inciting incident.
The inciting incident in this quasi-technological magical weapon called the Cosmic Staff, which was Starman's weapon, which was given to him by a genius inventor named Ted Knight way back when. It had been dormant, kind of like King Arthur's sword, for all these years. Courtney discovers it in the basement, and it comes to life when she gets near it and reactivates. And the thing has a will of its own, and there's a quasi-intelligence there that nobody really understands, but it's just there.
It's got a sense of humor, too.
It's got character, and it's got goals, and it has a driving will all its own. But for some reason, it cannot work on its own. It needs a person that it's attached to.
Yeah.
It was probably designed that way, or it's left kind of vague on the qualities of the staff or why it is what it is, because Pat, her stepfather, doesn't know how it works. He's just the caretaker of it. He does know it's difficult.
So what is this show doing right?
There's villains around. They're the ones that killed Starman and the rest of the Justice Society of America.
Are they cardboard cutout villains?
They have their own plan, which we are not aware of. There's some big project going on that we also are not aware of. We know it's there, but we don't have any details of it, which is nice, because you can kind of guess. But she's really just drawn into this. I mean, she discovered the staff and it's like, oh, this is neat. Great. Let's do some fun stuff with this, basically a magic item that does all this
I don't know
really
if
cool
it's a
stuff.
magic item.
Well, no, it behaves like one.
They didn't set up the world to be magical. They set up the world, it's almost ultra science.
It's
because
technology.
if you take a look at some of the other, like the wizard guy, because that's what I don't know their names.
The wizard. It's actually the wizard.
Is it called the wizard?
Yeah, he's actually the wizard.
Okay, so he has this wand that is not magical. It has technological stuff like lightning around it. I'm thinking
That's
this
magic?
is ultra science. This isn't magic.
Wizard's magic.
I think they're setting it up to be ultra science instead. It's more grounded in reality, making more sense than, oh, now I don't know about the telekinesis and
Metahuman.
Oh, he's a metahuman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where in Marvel you'd have mutants and you'd have Inhumans and things like that. In DC, people with powers have something called a metagene. Basically, they have the potential to manifest abilities far beyond those of mortal men.
They did tackle a blowout fight in which Green Lantern died and a number of other superheroes. They're setting up the stakes. We've talked about being able to see the character by showing her accomplishments without having to tell us that she's a great character. We're going to experience that through her journey. Then we're also taking a look at the other journey of the sidekick of Stripes. We're learning about him and what he did after that event, and his own talents and abilities that he has, which happen to be mechanical in nature. They're laying a foundation for not the heroes, but the villains, the opposing side, and what they've been going through. We don't know what their agenda is. We're not being told that they're villains and they're rubbing their hands together. They did raise the stakes so that we could see Courtney and the staff and what they're up against. We don't know what happened to Courtney's father, but now she's attached herself to Starman.
She's immediately assumed that because the staff works for her, that Starman was her dad secretly, and that the reason he never came back is because he was saving the world.
They're probably going to tackle that story at some point. Do you think that the writing has been good?
It's been very good. They're putting time into the character development. They've had a reasonable motivation for most of these characters to be doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
They have their own agendas. They have their own things that they're looking for. I mean, they're comic book oriented, but a lot of them are relatable. Mm-hmm. Even the villains. The villain's big reason for going after Stargirl in the beginning is because by accident and happenstance, she ended up attacking his son.
Yeah.
This was personal. And then he called in the other villains, and now it's all about, well, if there's a Starman running around, we have our chance to finally get that staff.
Right.
There's plenty of reasons why they want to get all of that. There is humor.
That makes sense in the setting that it's in.
She comes across very likable, very relatable.
Yeah.
In her story.
Yes.
You should enjoy the show.
Yes, watch it. It's a good one.
Thank you for listening. There are literally hundreds of shows out there, and we are very grateful you have chosen to listen to ours. We'll leave a link to our show notes in the description area if you're interested in more information about us, along with how to reach and interact with us. Thank you for subscribing and sharing our show with others.